Placing habitats downloaded from the Planet Zoo Steam Workshop can be a little tricky at times. There's a quirk with it where every habitat will load into your game kind of floating in the air. This is because it loads into your game with the lowest point of terrain at ground level, then moves surrounding terrain to match the preset terrain of the habitat once it's placed, like so. Not exactly what you want here, is it? So how do you fix this? We need to use the advanced move tool. Bear in mind this only works before you place the habitat. Once it's been placed down, it can't be moved. So you need to make sure your habitat is level with ground before it's placed. So with your habitat selected from the toolbar, press the X key to bring up the advanced move tool. That'll give you this access to move the habitat about. Select the down arrow and sink the habitat to the desired level into the ground. Now select it anywhere outside of the tool and it'll place the habitat down. There we go, much better. Now with my starter habitat series blueprints, I've added an extra tool to get this even more accurate. All of the starter series habitats contain these signs with see me and hide me on them. So when you've selected the habitat from the toolbar, before you place it, have a look inside the habitat and see if you can find the see me and hide me sign. In most cases, it's by the habitat gate, so it's easy to locate. When you found the sign, position the habitat where you want to place it, then sink it into the ground using the advanced move tool until you see the hide me sign disappear. This means the habitat is now within millimeter accuracy of positioning at ground level. Once it's placed, simply delete the see me hide me guide and that's job done. Another rather frustrating quirk with the habitat blueprints is that they don't mix well with the pathing system either. So if you try and place a blueprinted habitat down next to a path, it'll throw up this terrain error and it'll refuse to place. Again, there's ways around this, but you just have to pre-plan. Figure out in advance where you want your habitat to go, and if there's already a path next to that, you're going to have to delete it temporarily. Now, to make sure I'm going to place the habitat flush with where the path is going to be, I make a makeshift path out of roof pieces. This is just a template to guide me where the habitat should go. With the fake path in the right position, then you're able to line up the habitat blueprint where it should be and put it down. Then you can get rid of that and put the real path back in. This also works if you want two blueprints close together. Again, it's like there's some kind of coding field around barriers and paths in the game where you can't place anything close by to it. So unfortunately, if you're placing two habitat blueprints next to each other, there's always going to be a bit of a gap. However, if you make the pretend path again to map out the distance you need to leave, then add the second blueprint on the other side here, you know that it's going to line up correctly and that you're leaving enough space for it to place. The gap that's left in between here, you can either fill that up with trees or some kind of nature, or you could just have another path coming up through the two habitats. So I hope these tips have been helpful and clears up some of those annoying errors with blueprint habitat placements. Cheers for watching, bye for now.